Alrighty, everybody got their airsick bag? Let the self-loathing begin. Here's what's coming up on the Nice Guys Today.
We're really big believers in going back a level and creating a persona to understand who we're talking about. So even before you and I started this conversation, I'm pretty sure before you hit record, you said, Adam, just to set you up, you're talking to you here, right? You gave me a persona so I know how to be relevant. And if you would have said, we're talking to a group of Catholic nuns, my word choice and my subject matter would be a lot fucking different, right? I wouldn't have sworn like I just did.
They always fuck you at the drive-thru. Oh, and on the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Welcome back, Funkin' fans. It is Monday. We are fired up. My name is Strickland Bonner. Doug Sandler on the other side of the microphone because we're fired up because we got a ridiculous, fun interview today.
It's not just today. It's the entire week went this way. Just the entire week. You know what? I'm in town. You're in Vegas. Not unusual for you to be there. What the hell are you doing in Vegas again?
It was a free trip. It's the 4-star trip that we do every year. I just didn't realize that it was going to be so close to the one that I just went on before San Diego. If I had known that the 4-star trip was coming up like now, I'm there now, I would not have done a couple of quick days in Vegas before San Diego. I probably still would have.
No, you probably still would have, because keep in mind that on your trip to Vegas last time, you got to meet Anna, who has been working with us for a year, and you've never met her.
I know, it's so cool.
And I got to go.
Yeah, true. It was fun.
I mean, it was just all sorts of goodness there, all at one time.
Tons of fun. We do have a sponsor today, unfolding.biz. For all of your ridiculously cool promotional products like our Nice Guy 2-minute spinner, which is just really freaking cool, go to unfolding.biz. They've also got cool t-shirts. Basically anything that you want to send on a promotional material, they can print it for you, send it to you, make it for you, and only good through the end of the month. If you use the promo code 2NiceGuys, all caps, you get 15% off your first order.
Yeah, 2, and that's the number 2, Nice Guys, all caps. 15% off your first order, or you can call Glenn. You don't have to have Glenn's phone number, do you?
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, it is actually 2. Was it 1-800 or 888? I should have had it in front of me.
No, it's like 1877.
Yeah, I think you're right. But then it's 2, like the number 2 unfold, which is really cool. That makes it easy to remember. 877 2 unfold. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you definitely want to check this out. If you need any promotional products for marketing your company, Glenn is the hookup. Definitely.
Can we get I want to get like polo shirts with our logo on it. That would be cool.
Let's
I like our t-shirts, but I think polo shirts would be really cool.
The issue is going to be when we call back Glenn and say, hey, did anybody call? That's the hard call to make. Yeah. I'm thinking that we probably got the phone to ring. I'm hoping that we got the phone to ring.
It's like, hey, Glenn, we did ads for you all month. How did everything go? Because we're ready to do it again. Nobody called. Oh, no, really? They must have the wrong number. No, they actually did call. They just didn't buy anything. Oh, so you're saying that we're not going to do it again next month. Is that what you're trying to say, Glenn?
Hey, Glenn, it's Rick. Hey, Rick, could you do us a favor? It's unfolding.biz. If you could just go ahead and cut a commercial on your next call to 4242 DJ Doug. Oh, God.
Anyway, unfolding.biz. It is really, really cool promotional stuff. I mean, he has literally thousands of products that he can put your logo on, and it's just cool stuff to give away, and people will remember you and your business, and, it's swag. It's just cool stuff.
We had such a great time with Adam Pierno. Adam is our guest today on the show. His company is called instillstrategy.com. He's got a huge sense of humor. I mean, the part of the sense of humor that I love the most is that he's got on his website. You know how sometimes when you're a business consultant or you have training or you're doing some programming, and sometimes you're a bigger company that is that needs the training, but you don't know how to exactly convince your boss that you need to be sent to this training. He actually has a convince the boss page on his website, which I think is kind of cool.
You got to have that ammunition to take to the boss to convince him.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. So
he has worked with,
No, go ahead.
Oh, he has worked with huge monster companies like Dial, Phoenix Children's Hospital, Dunkin' Donuts, Domino's Pizza, Trident, Mercedes-Benz, Green Mountain Coffee, Smirnoff, Verizon, and, just for you, Doug, Delta Airlines.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to talk a little bit more about Delta tomorrow.
Yeah, I had a very positive experience. Thank you, Delta Airlines, for not only the upgrade, but for being very nice guys.
You can hear more about that tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of teasing going on in tomorrow's episode about Thursday's episode as well. So just get set that all of your needs will not be met tomorrow. But you are going to have a very positive experience. It's not
so Adam's actually a listener, though, right?
Yeah, Adam is definitely a listener. So, Adam, I know, just stay tuned for a second. Tuesday will not be the happy ending that everybody is looking for.
Damn,
that will happen more on Thursday.
Well, we hope it's going to happen on Thursday. We don't know.
It will. We get a lot of answers to the questions that are raised on Tuesday's episode.
We hope. We haven't actually recorded the Thursday, so we don't know that for sure, but that's the plan at least.
So let me just say this. When Adam came on the show, one of the first things that we start talking about is the fact that he was a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious to come on the show because he is a fan of the show. He is a fucking fan of the show, and he does listen in, and he was a little bit afraid that we were going to mention a very special word.
The special word of the intro word that we say when we think an interview is maybe not so great. You know, but
so he was working very hard to create an episode that was not this certain word. I mean, I guess we could say the word. You're just going to beep it out.
We could. I'll
anyway.
just beep it out.
Yeah, I don't even want to make you work that hard. And we have a lot of clients now, Strick. I'm going to try to make you not work that hard. Although I really appreciate you working as hard as you did on last week on the episode that I got cut off like 3 times. I could not even tell on that episode that there was even any technical problems. You did a great job.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you very much.
As always. Anyway,
Adam Pierno, we do have an interview today, by the way.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about Adam, or you want to just get right to the interview?
I mean, we haven't really talked about what he does. He does, it's about marketing, but it's really about training, and it's about learning to be a strategic leader. But he just does it with a lot of humor. The picture on his like what we teach page, it's like a picture of him like kind of looking serious, looking off into the distance, right? And the caption says, "Note, Adam in foreground."
Yeah,
obviously he does not take himself too seriously.
He has a special level of humor that is completely understood, and that's probably why he does like to listen to the nice guys. And he actually has, I think, did I make a note in the show notes? He has a couple of podcasts that he puts together. Did I say that?
Oh, you didn't say that. I don't remember you talking about that in the show.
No, unless I'm just completely wrong here and talking about the wrong guest. I believe that he does have access, and he does a couple of podcasts.
Well, I'm looking on his website, and I see a link that says podcast. So
yeah,
sure enough.
So he does. I think there's one that he definitely does for the company that he mainly focuses on, but he has this other one, and we get into it on the show, and he does he's a really good podcast host, leads the conversation well, good conversationalist, potentially an opportunity as a turnkey podcast customer, Strickland. So I just want to say we should probably...
I'm looking at, it's called by the way, his podcast is called The Strategy Inside Everything.
Yeah.
And in each episode, we discuss the events in pop culture, business, fiction, sports, even politics to uncover the strategy behind the action. Dude, you know me, that's like right up my alley. I totally need to check this out.
Well, you'll check out the podcast. You'll get to really like the podcast, not just because of the content. I know you'll like the content too, but because of his personality. He's a winner. He's one of those guys that has a sense of humor that is completely a nice guy's sense of humor.
So can we get to the interview already then?
Yeah, let's do it. Adam Pierno here on the Nice Guys on Business podcast. I knew I would like today's guest immediately once I read a note he wrote about best marketing tools. And I quote, Twitter, limitless networking potential if you're not a selfish a-hole. Here to not be an a-hole, the big boss at Instill Marketing Strategy, Adam Pierno. Welcome, Adam, to the Nice Guys.
Hey, how you doing, Doug? So glad to be here.
Did I even say that right? In still, or is it in style? You marketing guys, you give it a little confusion.
That's funny. Yeah, we tried to come up with something trademarkable. Maybe we shot ourselves in the foot. It's Instill Marketing, Instill Strategy Training, and it's part of our agency here, which is Santee Integrated. We're located in Scottsdale, Arizona.
I love. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to. How far is Scottsdale from Phoenix and Tucson?
Well, Phoenix and Scottsdale are essentially next door neighbors. Tucson is about 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on what part of town you're coming from.
Dude, 2 weeks. I'm going to be there speaking for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm finding you.
Let's get together. We'll get a beer. We'll get a coffee, whatever you want.
What's coffee? Shit, I want beer. If you're buying drinks, I'm going for drinks.
Well,
if it's coffee, I'm buying.
Well, you tell me where you're staying. We'll hook it up. We have a keg here at the office. Otherwise, I'll meet you wherever you want to go.
Wait a minute. Is this part of the fucking millennial generation? You have a keg at your office. You have foosball and a ping pong table too?
We do have a ping pong table, yes. No foosball. It's too loud. We found that the foosball table was too much of a distraction.
Oh my gosh. I knew when I started doing a little bit of fact checking about you, first of all, you didn't spill the beans. You have a couple of different hold on, I'm so fucking far ahead of myself. Tell our nice guy community who you are, what's your sweet spot, and what does Instill do? And it's not Intel or InStyle, it's Instill.
Yes.
What do you guys do
Instill
best?
strategy training. So yeah, thank you for just letting me back up because it is complicated. My digital footprint is very messy. So I'm the chief strategy officer at an ad agency called Santee. We're located here in Scottsdale. We have an office in Southern California as well. And as the chief strategy officer, I've been lucky enough to build out this strategy team. And so part of that whole deal was I got some people that came in. They're very smart people. I myself came from the creative side. So Doug, I was an art director. I was a creative director. And then the CEO here gave me this awesome opportunity to be the strategy chief here. And as I started trying to put together ways to train the team and get better at selling strategy to clients, demand for strategy from marketers is just like off the rails. If you're a brand, you really want someone who really understands not just marketing strategy, but also business strategy and what they can get from consulting firms that are edging into the ad agency business now every day. And so I was just like, well, I'll just Google it. I'll find, a seminar or a course or a webinar or something like that. And you know what happened? I couldn't find it. And I started calling my friends in the business and saying, hey, how do you train your team? What's the comprehensive way that you
Wait, is this called the white space you're about to find? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that is what they call it. Thank you. I call it blue ocean, but yeah, same difference.
Yep.
And so they all responded essentially to a person saying, hey, when you find that thing, would you send it to me? Because I don't know what it is. We need it. And so I was lucky enough to talk to some really smart people and I just started like saving snippets and saving stuff into a Google Doc. And before I knew it, I had organized it into this really rich curriculum that I trained my team on. And then I came back, I told my boss here, and he was like, if we needed that, I bet you there's probably 50,000 agencies in the country that are our size that also probably need that. And I said,
absolutely.
Shit, that sounds like an opportunity. So we started Instill, and it's been great. The response has been really good. And the response from clients, I think that we're seeing also has been really good to just the understanding of marketing strategy.
And what's really cool about it is you've really taken advantage, as a lot of marketing companies haven't yet, and I don't understand why. You've taken advantage of this new media. You've gone into the podcasting space. You have a podcast called The Strategy Inside Everything, and I discovered through doing some research, you have another podcast called the Food and Marketing Podcast too, which I guess deals specifically in the vertical and the restaurant space. Yeah,
so that's a totally different thing. That's just a promotion for Santee, and then that talks to our clients in that space, Doug. And then the strategy inside everything is all about Instill and trying to talk strategy without being so highbrow and boring that you tune out of it.
Well, and I love how easy that you make it for people that are working for organizations to help you help them, because I know trying to figure out a strategy especially for some of the smaller and the medium-sized companies, you have a page on your site dedicated to, it's called Convince the Boss. I mean, that's pretty cool because you understand the challenge that most organizations have. It's not, your marketing guy or your person that has many hats at the organization, they need the help, and they know they need the help too, but their boss doesn't know that yet. So
yeah, and the
talk
boss
talk about that for a second.
Oh, totally, absolutely. So just like we would do for any client, we're really big believers in going back a level and creating a persona to understand who we're talking about. So even before you and I started this conversation, I'm pretty sure before you hit record, you said, Adam, just to set you up, you're talking to you here, right?
I did. That's exactly right.
You gave me a persona so I know how to be relevant. And if you would have said, we're talking to a group of Catholic nuns, my word choice voice and my subject matter would be a lot fucking different, right? I wouldn't have sworn like I just did. So
wait a minute, hold on. I haven't used this in quite some time. Let me get it out here.
Yep. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so we started with personas, and one of the personas is essentially the person who knows, maybe it's like a junior strategy person or a junior account person inside an agency that knows they need training or wants training to excel in their career. And they also know that to do that, if I'm charging them $1,000 or whatever it is to come out and get this 2-day intensive seminar, or that they want to have us come to their agency and do that, they know that they want the boss to pay for that. And so they know that the people I'm talking about are motivated and driven enough to know, well, I have to make a case for this. I have to make a business case. So we put that convince the boss page on there for the exactly reason. They can copy the stats out, they can forward the page, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of tongue in cheek. But the stats are real. The information is real. That strategy is ever in demand, and you can see the big consulting firms continue to buy up creative firepower, and now agencies sort of have this creative firepower, but they don't have the reputation of the strategic thinking.
Some of the strategy that you work on, and some of the best advice that I saw on the site, and again, just in doing some really, really quick fact checking on you and looking through your LinkedIn profile and stuff, your best marketing advice really is this: shut up and listen, then listen more. Can you just talk about that as a marketing strategy? Because I really do think that that's something that people just don't get it. They're not listening to their customers or their potential customers.
Yeah. So I have a sticky note that I'm looking at right now. Maybe I'll send a picture to accompany this episode. And it says, what is the real problem we are trying to solve? And a lot of times in marketing, and Doug, I think this happens in your business too, someone comes to you with the solution that they've come up with, and they say, go do this thing. And in our business, that could be, we need a website, or we need an app, or we need a TV commercial. Well, it's my job to make whatever their idea is successful to drive their business. So whatever that result is that they want, it's up to me to really listen read between the lines and hear what they're really saying is their problem. Mm-hmm. And then figure out how to be diplomatic. When I talk, I've heard enough that I can be intelligent and play back for them. Okay, well, I think what you're really saying is this. Let's come up with some other solutions. Maybe yours is the best, but maybe we should try A, B, or C. Let me go back and do a little bit of research and figure out what's the best way to get to the goal that you're trying to get.
Wait, I lost you for a second. Are you there? I heard the last word "get." Was it? Did you go beyond that?
No, that's it. Sorry,
I was waiting. I was waiting for some. I know there was going to be some extreme wisdom after that point.
No,
I knew you were getting there.
I don't have extreme wisdom.
No. You totally do, because you know what's great about it is it's the simplicity of what you're saying. And I want to chat for just a quick second about some brand strategy for small business, because
totally.
I really think that's where most of our listening audience
is.
And fucking fans. If this doesn't apply to you as you're listening, just take a bathroom break, but don't linger. Get back here quick, and don't forget to wash your hands too. So sorry, Adam, I have to be a father sometimes.
I appreciate it, man. I'm there too.
How old are your kids?
7 and 9.
7 and 9. Oh my gosh, you're just about a boy, a girl. What do you have?
I have my boy James is 7 and my girl Emily is 9.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's great being a father. A lot of great marketing strategy has to go into understanding what your kids want and need in their life, isn't it? Isn't that true?
When you talk about learning how to be a diplomat, you also learn how to win negotiations with children. It's not easy.
So in talking about small business, here's the deal. Small business, sometimes they're so focused on the details that we forget sometimes to work on the strategy. I mean, we're making sales calls, we're paying bills, we're doing social stuff. What does strategy really look like to a small business, so that we can give some level of relatability to those that say, yeah, that's exactly where I am right now? So can you share what typically you're walking into as this is about to be the problem I'm going to solve?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So normally, just for context for everybody, we deal with big businesses, sometimes global businesses are our clients here. But when I do get the chance to work with small business, I love it, because a lot of times the founder, the owner, is also the chief doer. And you're right, they have trouble working at both levels, or they have trouble separating their different jobs, right? There's a lot of hats, but it's all kind of sewn together into one weird hat. So I think what I find that they're forgetting about is that persona that we built at the beginning is really important to make sure that there's not more than one persona. Small business owners tend to think my customer is all one guy, or it's all one type of person.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's really important to understand how many different personas they are, and they could be divided by attitude. It could be like an attitude segmentation where they're all the same guy, except one guy loves this other brand for this one particular reason. Now you have a new thing you have to communicate when you're talking to that person in your sales call. So a lot of it is really understanding your customers. And then the other thing, in major marketing, there's a discipline that's called behavioral economics, which really boils down to this idea that when the marketing textbooks were originally written 100 years ago, they were written by economists. And economists had this idea that in a perfect, yeah, exactly, they don't really understand human nature. So they thought, when I go to the store to buy toothpaste, I will compare every box of toothpaste and look at them equally and try to discern, which is really the best deal and has the best core benefit. And dude, when was the last time you did that?
I don't. I go and I find the color.
Right. Or you just look or you look at the price. So,
right.
So what behavioral economics is, and I'm going to get this back to a real simple answer for the small business people, but you need to understand this concept. What behavioral economics does is it pulls in elements of psychology and neuroscience, and they looked at, well, no, people actually make decisions based on these signposts. We take all these shortcuts because our brain, most of it is dedicated to this short-term decision making. So we want these really fast ways to do that. So there's things like the way that we make these trade-offs in our mind is really how we make decisions. So when you're making a sales call, you're not just competing with your 3 competitors, right? So let's say you're selling cars or something. You are actually competing with maybe what I'm watching on Netflix, or who I have on the other line, or somebody that's standing outside my cubicle. And we have to understand what they're really thinking about or what they're really objecting to, because it might be, we think, oh, they're objecting to price. I know this guy, he wants to pay less. But really what they could be thinking is, I have to get out of here because my kid has a dentist appointment, or I have to pick my kid up from school. And understanding how to read people is a big part of it.
But how do you get through to that as a marketing company? And I know that we have limited time to create, to solve this huge problem of, well, how do we determine what the strategy is? But how do marketing companies even decide where to start with an organization? How do you search for problems? Like, what are some key questions that you might ask in determining what the problem is with the company when you go in to start working on a strategy?
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of ways in, and one of the ways that I would do it with a small business, I think it's much easier to do. We do them with large businesses, and it can be really complex. But a shopper's journey is a great way to do it. So we map out all the places where people can engage with the brand, engage with the company, from the initial way that they hear about it, and it may be a category entry point, seeing an ad, which is less likely than ever today, and then all the ways that they can engage with us. So maybe there's a trade show component, maybe there's a website component. Each of those pieces is what we call a touch point, and traditionally a touch point was considered essentially an ad. So if you go back a few years and you read about customer journeys, it was like, touch point, radio ad, and it would say, customer hears radio ad and is excited to call, and that's bullshit, right? That never happens.
Touch point could be the parking lot and how dirty it is, or the door that's not locked. The bifold doors that only open on the right side, and the left-handed guy opens it and thinks he's being locked out because that one's locked. I mean, any of that stuff is touch points.
Well, a touch point, actually, there's a smart guy from an agency called BBDO named Julian Cole who says a touch point is actually a place where the consumer has a need and engages with the company, right? There's a human interaction at that point where there's some kind of desire or a desired state that they're coming to you with. So if it's at a trade show, they're coming for information. They're not just there because your booth is a 20 by 20 and it's really shiny and pretty. You know what I mean?
Yep. So talk to me for a second about some of the mistakes that I know that are out there that's so prevalent with marketing companies. And because I see it just as a consumer, not as a guy that actually has experts that come on the show, but as a guy that's actually listening to the marketing crap that's going on out there in the world. So many companies have it wrong. What should companies avoid if they're on a hunt right now for a company that they're looking to have help them with marketing?
Oh, geez, there's a lot. All right. It's really hard. I think the numbers that I've seen is that there's somewhere around 100,000 agencies in the U.S., right? Okay, and a lot of those, I would say,
just marketing agencies you're talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
And I would say Well,
That's
if I had
even
to guess,
low. That's even low because now anybody that has the internet thinks they're a marketing expert.
Well, that's where I was going. I mean, I would guess 30% of that is probably just what you described. A guy in his home office, or 3 people.
Easy. I'm in my
together.
pajamas right now. All right, I'm a pajama. you already know this. You listen to the show. You know, 90% of the time I'm in my pajamas. Okay.
I respect you, sir.
Thank
You
you.
found out a way to make a living in your pajamas.
That's right.
I'm
True.
jealous.
True.
I would look for people who are locked into a solution. So here at Santee, we're full service, right? We can offer anything. So when a client comes in and I'm able to figure out what their real problem is, I can solve it in the best possible way. And that was more sales pitchy than I wanted. But if you're like an SEO agency, for example, everything is a Google ad. And if you're a website agency that makes websites or apps or something, every solution is an app. And what's the old saying, right? If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Absolutely.
And so if you're a small business, it's hard to find an agency when you're a small business, because if you don't have contacts there, you're essentially going to the Google, search world and trying to figure out who's best. And if you haven't experienced it, it's hard to know what's what. But I would look for places that have at least 2 or 3 different services to try to find someone that has a fuller breadth of solutions for you and doesn't want you to just do one thing, because I promise you the answer is not as simple as that. I wish it was. I wish you could just say, I want a radio ad and go to the radio ad agency. But it really doesn't work that way.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. You need a well-rounded company, a company that does probably a couple things. I think that the biggest concern that I always have when I talk to anybody that is in marketing or marketing companies or agencies in general is that I don't know the answers. So it's almost like I'm going to them with the questions, and then the problem is that they have the answers, but then I have to make the decisions, and following their advice sometimes is challenging. And then of course, there's the dollars that are attached. We all have limited dollars to spend on marketing. So where do you put your dollars? So that's one of those age-old questions that we just, you're not going to know until you start. I've invested so many things incorrectly just because, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So every marketing agency, they're only going to tell me what they can do, for helping them.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. And, that's you got to a real important point for agency challenges for agencies. Is, if you go to an accountant, you take their advice. 9 out of 10 times you say, okay, do what you just said, right? Mm-hmm. You go to a lawyer, you take their advice. Okay, write up that thing you just sold me. You got to do it. Okay, write that kind of document, I'll pay you. And it's because the pedigree of those organizations, and they're certified and they've gone through the bar exam or the CPA exam or whatever it is. For agencies, we don't have that kind of a certification. We only have essentially expertise and testimonials as proof, really, case studies maybe, which are kind of bullshit.
Yep.
So what falls on agencies, the responsibility that we have, where we fall short a lot, so this is not on the customers or the clients, it's on the agencies themselves, is not convincing you, but proving to you our value and proving to you that we're right. And that's part of what Instill teaches, is how to make a case for what you're saying. Because the truth of it is, if you don't have influence with a client, you are wasting your time and their time. And yeah, the meter's running and maybe they're paying you for the hours, but you're not helping them improve their business, and therefore they're not going to become somebody whose business gets better that they can refer you. So you have to earn that influence with them by being an expert and being convincing and knowing your stuff enough that when they ask those really tricky questions, you can answer those questions. That's a really critical part. And for a lot of agencies, we fall short there because we know about marketing, but we don't always have the time or the inclination to really get our hands dirty in the client's business. But you just have to become an expert. We have a pizza client here, and I've gone on store tours, and I've been in the kitchen, and I've made pizza, and you have to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and what I love about what you're saying is that so much of it is just, you're just being a real guy. You're being curious. You're trying to help them in the zone that they want to be helped, and not selling, but listen. Like you said earlier, you shut up and listen, and it sounds like you guys do a really good job with that at your organization as well.
That's the key to it, man. And just trying. I don't need to be best buddies. We don't have to have a barbecue with my clients, but I do need to have a relationship with them where they feel comfortable saying they disagree, or saying, hey, I don't know how to tell you about this problem we're having, but here's this thing, right? And then I can really help them. almost like a therapist in a way, but there's no couch.
That's that's really good advice. Hey, so I found this out just as we started to chat at the beginning of our conversation. You said that you've been listening to our show since about episode 300, so that puts you about 150 episodes deep. So who's the relatable person to you, Strick or me? Who do you relate to more?
Well, Strick has more of the edge. He's got a little bit more rage. You play more of the nice guy, although he's got the nice guy handle. So I think I'm a Gemini, so I'm a little bit bipolar. So it really depends on the episode.
Okay, no, I understand that. I completely get that. And Steve OBrien's philosophy is that he really enjoys the show, like maybe the first 20 seconds and the last 30 seconds of the show where he gets to do his thing on the show. Steve O has actually been the only guy that's been on all 450 some odd episodes since the beginning of us airing. I missed one, and I think Strick missed one or two as well. But Steve O has been on every single episode of The Nice Guys. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive. That's a great. He's like the Mickey Mantle or the
he's
Lou
totally,
Gehrig.
Yeah, he's the Cal Ripken of to make a Baltimore reference.
Go.
He's the Cal Ripken of the Nice Guys.
Oh
on
yeah,
Business
geez,
podcast.
what am I thinking? You're in Baltimore. Yeah, so you've got about another 1,500 episodes to go.
We are working our way there. So let me say. So since you are a listener to the show, I got to ask you a couple of questions that would be not necessarily standard fodder for the show, but you may even know the answers to this. So the first one you're going to know really, really easily. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
I have an iPhone, yeah. I'm not messing around with any of those inferior.
All right, so go to your texting app and tell me what is the last text message you either sent or received.
Oh God.
Oh God.
The last one, you really want to hear it? I can't tell you who it's from, but it says, "Yes, I did. I resigned."
Oh no! I hope that's not your wife. I hope that might be a friend of yours that's resigning from the company.
Yeah, at me at Twitter if you want to know who it is.
Oh, excellent. And tell me, go to your photo app. Tell me the last thing that you took a photo of. We really do appreciate the R or X rated photos too, so that would be fine.
No, there's no dick pics in this thing.
You're awesome.
You're not going to believe this, but it's a picture of a rainbow over my house that I took for my kids when I was driving home the other night.
Wait. Double rainbow all the way across the sky.
I can't believe it.
That guy was so high when he was doing that YouTube.
I was so jealous.
I know. He's probably sold advertising space to that. And he probably is. The guy probably has to do nothing at this point in his life, right?
He appeared in a Delta Airlines safety video that they did a couple months ago or maybe last year. So, yeah, I think he parlayed that into a little, maybe 7 minutes of fame. I don't know about 15.
So my question then, Adam, is what the fuck am I doing wrong? I can't, 450 episodes. I can't buy a break. I cannot buy a break.
I think you're doing okay, man.
We're getting there.
Like you're doing
a little bit at a time. All right, last question for you. What dress code would you prefer seeing if you got an invitation to an event that you would get in the mail? For example, would it be black tie or casual chic? You know the ones I'm talking about. Like, example, mine would be pajamas requested. So if you saw an invitation with a dress code on it, what would be the dress code you would love to have?
Oh, mesh tank tops only.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
No,
like
just my parties that I go to.
Like macrame kind of mesh, or you mean like the kind we used to wear?
Mesh.
Kind we used to wear in intramurals. They had the either red or green, and I always got the one that they don't wash those very often. That stink.
No, those things are disgusting.
Bad.
Do not let those near your skin. They're repellent.
So, Adam, if our nice guy community wanted to get in touch with you to find out, and you have also some regional stuff that you do, like some seminars and stuff that you actually do on like a tour. Is that did I read that right?
Yeah, that's right. So for Instill Strategy, there's a few ways to engage with us. Agencies can have us come in, or we can do offsites, because sometimes being in your own office is a nightmare for attention. But we do these summits. They're regional workshops, we call them. So the next one that's coming up is actually in September in Chicago. I don't know when this will air, but it's at the end of September. And what we do is we invite people from all around Chicago. So, if you're as far away as Columbus, or if you're somewhere west of Chicago, you're welcome to come. We try to pick destinations where people want to come. And you can find out about those on the website. So it's instillstrategy.com. And you'll find it under events. It'll have a listing. I think Nashville is up next after Chicago.
Nice.
And you can also find the podcast there, Instill Strategy /podcast, and that's the strategy inside everything. And the whole point is to take the highbrow, complex bullshit of strategy, and a lot of that stuff comes from academia. And really just make it conversational and make it easier for everybody to understand and discuss so that we can make it easier to define and easier for people to buy and sell.
I think that's what I loved about your website the most. It seems like it's just a really simple square. I think it's even a Squarespace site that you. It looks like a lot. I think you have the same template that I have, so I don't know if it's.
I know, I definitely do.
that was well done.
I noticed that right away.
Well done. So, Nice Guy community, if you want to get in touch with Adam or talk to him about some of the programs that he has or Instill Marketing Strategies, all of the programs that they have, or if you want to listen to his podcast, it's right there on his website as well. He might even give you, if you get in touch with him, a sneak peek into the Food and Marketing podcast too, because I just listened to the Cut the Cord episode, and that was fucking awesome. I mean, that was really. It wasn't about food, but it was really good.
Why are you? You sound surprised, Doug. That's like crazy.
Wait, how dare you have a show that's about food and marketing and not talk about marketing? It's like having a Nice Guys podcast and not being fucking nice.
Well, that episode is specifically about TV viewership. And Dan Santee, who is the CEO here at Santee and who is my co-host on the Food and Restaurant Marketing, we know that if you're a chain restaurant, how the media landscape is changing right now is really important. So part of strategy and part of food and restaurant marketing. There's some episodes. I mean, I think you probably didn't listen to the episode of the death of retail.
No, I saw that one though. I had limited time, and I'm going to the Dan Santee one, and I listened to I think your latest one also, which was good too.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
No, all good. And I know, as we talked about before we hit the record button, there is some work to be done. I have an idea for several different projects that I want to work on. It's like, how many times do you find yourself saying, I'm not short of ideas, I'm just short of time?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty much my problem. So we'll figure out something, and I know we are definitely going to do that beer when I come out to Arizona. So thank you, Adam.
Send me
for
a
being
note
on
right
the show,
now, man. Let's get it booked.
Before we hang up, we are absolutely going to do that. Let me just get rid of this audience.
Yeah. See you guys.
Nice Guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Special thanks to Adam for being on the show today. All of his information will be in the show notes. Special, huge thanks to both Anna and Mar for being such exceptional show producers and executive show producer, and who's that fucking guy? Oh yeah, Strickland for being a great co-host as well. Adam, thanks for being on the show, man.
Oh man, an absolute pleasure. Thanks, man.
Steve OBrien, take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve OBrien. Because it's such a fine line between stupid and clever.
Do you need to know any information, like who you're talking to you, pretty much?
Yeah. Oh, I think I get it. You just direct me. If I'm saying something that you don't think is interesting, literally say, let's change the subject.
Okay, I love that. Okay, well, all right.
I want to be relevant, dude. It's not valuable if people are tuning me out or if Strick gives the secret word.
Oh shit, no, he was not going to give the secret word. I promise you. I already know enough about you that the secret word will never come out. You will not
all right.
hear.
I would. That might be something that makes me cry. I'm not known for being very emotional, but that
no
might be something
fucking
that breaks
way.
me down. My wife would have to hold me.
No. This would be good.